You guys, welcome to episode 7. 7. I like the word 7, and I'll tell you why. I am a fitness instructor, and I count a lot when I teach, and I count like 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10, right? I use 10 a lot when I teach just because it's just I like how it stops at 10. Anyways, 1 through 10, 7 is the only like two-syllable word of 1 through 10. So if you're a fitness instructor, you're probably kind of getting me right now, because when you have to go up higher and say like 13, 14, like frick, that's a lot of work. So I just go like this. If we're going to 14, I'm like, we're going to do a 10-4, like, or a 10-6. Anyways, that might not make any sense to you, but it makes sense that today is episode 7 of The Big Messy Bun. And let me tell you, today's is freaking tastic. I'm actually going to start the episode playing you a voice note that I just sent to a listener. So I'm going to try my best for you to hear this and just hang on to your hat. It's about 90 seconds, so here we go.
It doesn't have to be massive. And I think if people could just break this shit down. Like, when I shared a video 2 days ago of just from 2020 to today, 4.5 years. Ronnie, if we met in 2020, I was hanging together by a thread. But I kept the course of my workouts and not even good eating. I was just eating to eat. But I kept my workouts and I kept my gratitude practice and I did these things, and I'm sitting here right now so happy that I did ripped the Band-Aid and started the podcast, because it's opening up. It's like my brain is on unload. And so there's so much coming out, so it's making room for more. And when you do these things, like you just said, there's so many things that are coming out of you. And it doesn't need to be perfect. Our workouts don't need to be perfect. Our food doesn't need to be perfect. Anyways, I'm so happy that this is hitting you. Okay, have a good day.
Okay, so I'm going to put my phone away so it's not a distraction. You guys, it does not have to be perfect. I want you to hear this, because a lot of people think, because I have been in this wellness industry for my whole life, I have not done it perfect. I have not been a perfect mom. I have not been a perfect friend. I have not been a perfect daughter. I have not been a perfect wife. I have not been a perfect person. But I will tell you this, where I have a little superpower is I was never trying to be perfect anyways. And so I was less afraid to take risks. I'm less afraid to just jump and figure it out, because I really am not worried about perfection. But as I am unloading these ideas, like when I said to her, starting the podcast was kind of like, in my way, writing a book that I wanted to write. And I've learned that reading and writing for me, like actually reading, like if I were to sit here and read a book to you, I would fumble words, and I talked about that on the last episode. And so I'm learning that my voice is where I love to just speak. I love to just share. I love storytelling. And that's what these papers are. These are loaded papers full of stories. So I'm going to bring us back to the end of episode 6. On episode 6, I ended with something along the lines of the fact that if you don't take control of your life will take control of you. This can feel so hard when you're in the middle of a shitstorm, when you've got a lot going on. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you are going through a divorce. Maybe you are having to move. You've got, oh my God, what if you had all those 3 at once? Holy shit, how would you even breathe? So you would have to do something. And this is something I did. I took massive action. Now, that doesn't mean I took massive steps. Taking massive action on your life, your health, your finances, your whatever you're trying to make differently for you, better for your family, better for whatever, you must understand something, that when you take massive responsibility, yes, you're then able to take the first action step. So when you take responsibility, even if a situation is not your fault, I'm going to take you back, you guys. So in 2020, when I knew I needed to make a change, some of it was my responsibility and some of it was not. But I knew if I sat in the game of placing blame, I wouldn't take those action steps. And so I just started one podcast. Actually, I'm a listener. I love listening to podcasts. So I would listen to different ones that would help me find the resources, the nuggets, what I needed to hear to take the next step. And I'm going to share with you another part in this that really, if you can get this other piece, okay? Because this is a massive little piece. If you are going to want to change something, or perhaps you are starting a new, I'm going to use fitness because that's my jam. Let's say you're like, I'm going to start a new workout program. If you go at that workout program with the attitude and the mindset that it will work for you, there's a greater chance it will work for you. Okay? If you go at it with this isn't going to work, nothing's worked in the past. Oh, here I go. I'm going to try again. I'm going to fail. No, you're trying again. You're gathering information, number one. Number two, can we try to put in our head, choosing the thought that, what if this works out? What if it's going to be amazing? Put that flip in place. Now, sometimes it can be with starting I'll use myself. Oh, I love sharing stories about myself because I have full permission. So about 18 months ago, I started on something called menopause hormone therapy. And so when I started, I researched the bejesus out of it. I studied. I took massive responsibility for my health. I took massive action. I listened to books on audio. I read books, some of them, and I listened and learned and talked to my girlfriends that were going through it. And we had these discussions. And then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I'm starting. Actually, I am a bit of a video. I love video, you guys. So I know you're listening to this on audio, but I just grabbed a journal that I had where I was tracking all of my symptoms. I was tracking everything. Okay. So then when I started hormone therapy, I was better able to compare and see where it was going. But more importantly, when I left the pharmacy that day with the prescription, I said to myself, this is going to work. I put that in my head that this is going to work for me. And if it didn't, well, then I guess I'd have a different podcast episode, right? But it is working for me. It is working well. It is reducing symptoms. It is bringing me clarity. It is making my bones and my joints and my muscles hurt less. Yes, I used to beat myself up for being in so much pain. And yes, I sat in silence because I'd been a fitness instructor my whole life. So heaven forbid, I want to tell my audience, for about 8 years, I suffered in silence because I was embarrassed because I didn't know what the fuck was going on with my body. I was in so much pain. And when I look back, when I started journaling and I started doing the timeline, I was in perimenopause. I didn't think this was going to turn into a menopause episode, but it might. So anyways, but the idea that I want to get in your head, it's not about menopause. It's not about your diagnosis or what you want or them or whatever. The premise is the same. I wanted the therapies I started to work. I want the food that I eat work for me. And I wanted to also create a food eating rhythm plan, whatever you want to call it these days. I don't give a shit what you call it. Do you call it a diet? Do you call it a meal plan? Do you call it a freaking whatever? I don't care what you call it. You're a human being who eats food. I just fed my dog. She just fucking eats. She doesn't worry about all that other shit. I want you to find a rhythm and a groove with your food that is sustainable. Because if you're going off and doing something so radical and you can't maintain it, that's a recipe for disaster. So anyways, I go at all of the things I try to, okay? Last episode, I touched on this other piece that I'm bringing back because it's an important one. And one of my good friends, Alicia, she wrote me and said, you know, Katey, I forgot about the 365-300 ratio, that there's 365 in the year. And I said on the last podcast, I try my best to do my best on 300 days out of the year. I try not to be a jerk 300 days out of the year. I try to choose my best thoughts 300 days out of the year. And on other days, I sit in my bed and cry and don't want to get up. Or I just fucking just roam around. Like, I'm just telling you that it doesn't have to be perfect. If we can look at the word progress over perfection, it's going to help eliminate some of what's holding us back. I am so wildly curious about kind of what holds people back from going for the thing or doing the thing or finding their groove or whatever the case may be. And I've learned that we got to pivot. Holy, lots of P words coming out today. I'll try to review them at the end. We'll see how good the memory is. But anyways, pivot. Yeah, change, switch, figure it out. And I grew up in a family that had to do lots of pivoting, lots of adjusting, lots of understanding that things were sometimes crazy and I had to figure it out, how I fit into the family. Then go and have a family of my own. Guess what? All my kids are good at pivoting and change because our life was full of so much of it, which I'm just delighted because my children aren't afraid of trying things and going for it and figuring it out because that's all I could teach them. I mean, it's not all I taught them. I taught them some other great stuff, but I'm telling you that when you can release yourself from the perfection piece, it allows for mistakes. It allows for rebuilding. It allows space to just fucking breathe. This is not an episode for kids. So if you got this far and you've got your children hanging out with you, I am sorry, but I warned you on episode 1. Oh, let's talk about that for a moment. I told you on episode 1 that this was not for kids. I told you on episode 1 that I am going to share like very authentically. So guess what happened? Talk about progress and not perfection. So I started this podcast on January 1st, and it got onto a place called Podbean and Apple Podcasts that week, okay? Then I had people writing, oh, can you get on Spotify? I listen to Spotify. Don't listen to Apple. I get it. Okay, I'm going to figure this out. Okay. Oh, I'm on YouTube as well. So you're going to want to go check out YouTube if you want to check out styles and stuff, my hair and my clothes. But anyways, and the animation is just great. My body movements. Anyways, so I wanted to get on Spotify. So guess what I did last week? I figured out Spotify. And guess what else I did? I uploaded and got all 1 through 5 episodes onto Spotify. I'm doing it. It's happening. It's all good. It's so good. I'm freaking jacked. We're going for it. It's on Spotify. And then guess what? I somehow deleted something. I hit a button, the wrong button, gonzo. The episodes are gone. Okay? So I redid this little configuration and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to upload episode 6 last week and it was a Tuesday night. Again, I'm still figuring shit out. I didn't know how to program my launch. So after boot camp class on Tuesday nights, I grab myself a little snack and I eat and I go podcast uploading. Okay? That's what I do. This is how it's done. So Tuesday night last week, I'm sitting there going, okay, you're going to figure this out and you're just going to hope for the best. And you do these little type, and then you hit something called publish. So I hit publish and I sat back. I ate another snack. And then I looked. There it was on Apple. There it was on YouTube. There it was on Podbean. And then there it was on Spotify. So we're starting Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, you're on episode 7. Maybe it says episode 2. Guess what I did? I didn't worry anymore. I was so like, oh my God, it's not going to make sense. They're going to be listening. I'm going to say, welcome to episode 7. And they're like, what the fuck? We're on episode 2. I gave up on figuring that piece out. I'm letting it go. Because I plan to do a whole lot of episodes. Are those Spotify people really going to come back to me and say, you know what? I'm not going to bother listening because you screwed up on 1 through 5. Okay? So listen, you can apply that same little story. Just the other day, I was training a client. And she was just chatting about how she missed this and missed that and something else and something else. And I said to her, well, should we just stop? Should we just let's just stop. Let's just not worry about it. Don't worry about taking care of your health. You may as well you screwed up 3 times last week. Why do you even bother? I could have done that with the podcast. I could have just been like, you know what? I'm not doing Spotify because I don't know how to upload 1 through 5. I could have, but I didn't. And I told her, don't you dare give up. You just get back on. Just keep starting. Just keep starting. I'm just telling you right now, it is like so liberating to just rip and go and figure it out. Now, one more thing I'm going to end with because I think we're near that mark. And here's the thing. If you are wanting to make a change of anything, guys, this is a theme. It goes on almost every episode. Can we just bring it down? It doesn't have to be figure it all out. No. Start today. I encourage you to take a walk. Just start walking. Just start moving your body a little bit. If you're wanting to learn the guitar, pick it up. Hold it in your hands. Put on a YouTube video that someone's playing. Play along with it. Maybe you want to write a book. Write 3 sentences for your book. Get out some scrap paper like I've done and just start writing. Maybe you want to clean your whole house because it's a disaster. And you're like, oh my God, I can't do the whole house today. Go close any doors that can close and clean the remainder of the house that you live in. Close your kids' bedroom doors, friends. It's not worth it. They're going to mess it up in 15 minutes anyways. Let yourself off the hook. Close the doors and worry about the rest. Anyways, I like to end on a big note because it's so fun. Oh my God. Last week's episode, oh my God, I love the end. I don't even remember, but I loved it because I was out walking my girl when I was listening to it. It was so funny. So I'm going to leave you with this. You need to break this down no more. You need to stop over analyzing everything. Stop it. There's so much fucking noise out there. Do I eat this? Do I eat that? Do I cold plunge? Do I, run? Am I going to do 75 hard? Am I intermittent fasting? Do I sleep naked? Do I sleep in a blanket? Like, what are you doing? Listen to your own self. You are your bestest teacher. He knows you the best. and get deep into yourself. Don't worry about what they're doing. Don't worry about what they're doing. Worry about you. And then guess what? When you start taking care of you, you will be able to better take care of your loved ones, your work family, your whatever, your community. You'll be a better human. So just let go of all that other shit. Let yourself off the hook, friends. All right, that's a wrap for podcast. See, I screwed up again. I meant to have a great finish, and here it is. I can't even freaking finish a podcast right. But guess what? Should I, you know what? Maybe we'll just pause and re-record the entire episode. No, I got shit to do. I was going to say, welcome to the Big Messy Bun. That's a wrap. Episode 7 of the Big Messy Bun. And I so look forward to episode 8. Have a great week, you guys.